So exciting times. We've heard a lot about digital and the digital transformation, digitization, all these new technologies that are evolving and taking over the world and taking over our lives, taking over who we believe in. Is it God? Will it be God? Will we be dead in 10 years? But it's actually an evolution that is going to help or is driving a revolution in the customer experience. What I'd like to do today is talk about some of those technologies, but also if they are a threat or if they're not a threat. And how can you as a company, as a brand, create a very unique and special customer experience that will allow you to tap in to this evolution and revolution that is being driven by these technologies. Today we're entering a new era. We are actually in the middle of this new era. Many companies have started investing in these technologies. Many companies have made a lot of errors, which is great because you can't live a lifetime long enough to make those errors all over yourself, so you can learn from them. But really these technologies and how they're being implemented and used are disrupting all sorts of things. Starting a war on Twitter today, creating all sorts of new experiences in many contexts and industries. Are machines catching up with humans? Yes, they've actually surpassed humans in many ways. And computers will follow the rules. We need to train them. But most recent advancements have shown that we don't need to blindly train them. We heard the expression of Homer Simpson, something new comes into his head, something has to go out. Computers and artificial intelligence have very much been the same like that. You could train a model to learn something, how to differentiate between a cat and a dog, or a bicycle and a car. But you could not take that same learned experience and say, okay, now I want you to go and decide between apples and oranges. It would have to reverse everything and start all over again. New technologies are being introduced, fueled by things like quantum mechanics and the capabilities that we now have for edge computing and the power of computing that allow these systems to actually learn themselves. In travel and tourism, we are actually one of the last or slowest to adopt these technologies. And I'll show you some examples from other sectors where we can learn not only what can we do and what jobs can we ideally replace or augment to make a better customer experience, but how we can actually grow and increase on this curve of technology adoption. Because this has been happening so fast, I've had to literally revamp my presentation every couple of days. So I've resorted to a few screenshots from my phone from the last 24 hours. And when we think about these new technologies and the humans that they're going to be replacing, but moreover, the humans that we need and the new jobs and skills that we need to actually drive this forward and control it and manage it and move it to the next level, we're seeing companies like Facebook and Google who have heavily invested in these things over the past few years, and they've started open sourcing their entire technology because they know that we can only grow if we educate more and more of the masses and bring in a new workforce. Thinking of edge computing and the capability that we now have with the power of the processing in individual devices, your cell phone, your smart glasses, your smart watch, these things are now able to do what was only capable in the cloud a few months ago. Literally, Google's AI translation reaches a very, very high accuracy without being connected to anything, literally on the phone in the edge, if you will. Many of you who are on LinkedIn already are experiencing how the industry is being shaped and evolved by machine learning and artificial intelligence with personal recommendations. You can see them there. When I go onto LinkedIn, I see these recommendations of jobs that I'm a top applicant for, although I'm not really looking and I didn't know that I'm a good applicant for that. But the semantic training and learning that's able to be done on all of this rich data allows us to do that. Friday coming up in the US is a big thing. It's called Black Friday, where all these technology gadgets are very cheap. All of them, the top 20 gadgets, are infused with artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things. Technology is constantly evolving both the guest and the hotel experience. But let's take a step back. Why are we not yet wholly adopting all of this? We're still being driven by a lot of our legacy technology platforms, inadequate guest journeys based off of that, and ultimately an outdated user experience. And in investigating some of our own internal research and approaches and proof of concepts that we've been doing, what has become clear to me is that we actually are being driven or restricted on how we're able to create a user experience or not by how this industry has created the product itself. And I'm really urging us to think from the inside out. Or actually what we do is we take an inside out approach. This is a teddy bear called Stife. The company is a Stife company. They make beautiful teddy bears. Warm, fuzzy, cuddly. You know, it's great. I want to have one as a child. They love them. Won't let them out of their hands. Take them to bed and sleep with them at night. If we look at how we create products, we have this experience in mind when we do this in hospitality. But we don't start with the experience. We actually reverse it, or we turn it inside out and say, in order to get to the warm and cuddly and fuzzy, you actually have to choose a rate first. We're going to tell you what the stitching is and how this actually fits together. Then you can choose the cloth, right? The room. And then there's some amenities. Amenities, does it have glass eyes or beady eyes? Does it have a brown nose or a black nose? And then where you're going to use it, the use cases. And really what we're doing is giving our users a very terrible experience by turning the journey inside out. So here's the teddy bear that we've actually turned inside out. Now you can brand it, of course. You can put a nice red vest on it and say, well, this is my brand, isn't it great? And you can take branding to the extreme. And you can even put little hearts on its feet to say, look, we love you, we're a great product and a great brand. And sometimes they actually look cool. You know, we're creating maybe some cuddly experiences, although a little bit freaky. Mostly the products and the experiences that we're creating are very much zombie-like. It doesn't matter if you throw technology at it, doesn't really make it better, just for technology's sake. And really our product is in dire need of some help. So in today's era of increased expectations driven by other industries, we need to consider the broader journey. Yuri Kruman said that the journey of the customer begins in the foothills of the psyche. So what does that mean? And I'd like to look at the customer experience to delve into that in some other industries and how we can apply what's being done in other industries to enhance the architecture, how we build our experiences and products to go across the entire spectrum of interactions with us as a company or products. There's a yearly study that's brought out from a large company in the US that looks at the top 50, or actually top 100 brands, but here's a selection of the top 50 brands this year in the US. And we'll look at a moment at the ones in China as well. What do you notice about the top 10 there? Most of them, if not all of them, top 7, for example, in the US, are all technology companies. They are all infusing and their brand experience and their customer experience with technology, through technology, and for technology. Similarly in China, here it's actually the first 13 companies, all using and leveraging these kind of technologies to create a very unique brand experience. There are 4 common principles that I'd like us to sort of reflect on here. And one of them is really about becoming a relevant brand for your consumers and how you can do that. In order to disrupt and deliver, you need to earn the customer's loyalty and really redefining what's possible. Customer obsessed is the next. Brands, or creating brands and experiences that customers can't live without. And being pragmatic in doing that. We'll take a look at Amazon for a moment to show how they do that. Making sure that these brands and your products are accessible across all of the channels and using technologies to augment the human interaction and augment the human processes that drive that. And being inspired, giving your customers the feeling of that warm and fuzzy, something that they can relate to and that they can see that fulfills a larger purpose for them. And ultimately then through that to innovate and use those technologies. So if we look at these top relevant brands, what they have in common, not only that they are primarily technology driven or they're using these technologies, but that they focus on creating a very remarkable customer experience. Those 4 pillars are reflected here through Amazon. It's available when and where I need it. Makes my life easier. Delivers a consistent experience. And I know that I can depend on this brand experience, this brand promise. It's modern and it's in touch with me and I can be in touch with it. Some other brands that we've looked at and how they are creating a customer experience using all of these individual technologies are things like IBM being more impactful through their Watson, driving massive adoption and changes and improvements in medicine and learning. Disney creating seamless user experiences in their parks, being more integrated using these technologies. Now, this is not technology for technology's sake. This is about using the right technology in the right space without being obtrusive and in your face to give our customers what they expect from that brand, or creating an experience and an expectation that they weren't expecting, and thus creating that warm and fuzzy for the customers. Netflix, Salesforce, Chick-fil-A, Samsung, more engaging, convenient, personalized, and interactive. That's ultimately all the things that we want to do. So does it actually pay off? That's a huge investment, you're thinking. Who's going to decide where and how and what technologies, and do I need to hire AI scientists? Does it really pay off? Absolutely it does. Now these are examples not from travel, these are examples from some of the larger brands where we've seen technologies being introduced to change the customer experience. But almost 70% of UK customers will pay more for a product. If they have the choice of two products, they will pay more for a product if it's from a brand that they love. Over 3/4 say that they have having a positive experience is more important than the product itself, and close to 90% would pay more just to ensure that they have a better customer experience. There's huge potential here. Over 140% of customers who had the best experiences, customers who had the best experiences spend 140% more. And customers like the ones we just saw have huge customer retention. They grow and expand at astounding rates, especially when they are in those competitive markets. Loyalty, a big thing for us in hospitality. Customers who have that best experience or believe that they're getting that experience will retain loyal for nearly 6 times as long. So what can we learn from other industries then? Let's look at an industry that has been ruthlessly disrupted over the past 50, even 100 years, continuously going through change driven by technologies. The music industry started with albums. An album had 5 to 8 songs. It was pressed on it. You bought it as a pack. Maybe you only bought it for that one song, but you had that whole sort of experience. Then came the internet. Then came MP3 and Apple iTunes, the ability to actually buy individual songs. Of course, Apple had the whole distribution landscape with it, but that disrupted the industry quite radically. The next very short period of time, we've seen companies come along like Spotify, who are now creating an additional value and a brand experience by saying, we're going to curate individual songs to you for a playlist and make recommendations based on that. What we're now seeing is companies that are actually taking that to the next level and disrupting the industry even further by saying, I'm going to analyze your Spotify playlist and not look at what songs you like, but look at what drum beats you like, what tempo you like, what instruments you like, what vocals you like. And then I'm going to, using machine learning and artificial intelligence and recommendation engines, go and find those so-called stems, those individual pieces of those products, strip them out or unbundle them, and bundle them together in real time and create not only a personalized playlist for you, but actually personalized songs that have never been in existence before and may only exist for you. We're seeing robotics and chatbots all over, not only taking the place of very redundant tasks, but supporting our employees and our consumers in engaging better, creating better data, creating better experiences, and removing these redundant tasks. Let's look at a company now that has created a robotics system to harvest one of the most difficult yields, crops to actually harvest. Something that requires a human touch, something that requires very fine sensing and feeling and identifying. Who likes to buy bruised and moldy strawberries? I know that I don't, but let's have a look at what these guys are doing.
Are you tired of a basket of fresh strawberries costing a fortune? What if AI could bring that cost down and help growers harvest their crops far more efficiently? One company is trying to do just that. I'm Arjun Dutt with NVIDIA, and this is IMAI. This is Agrobot, an AI-powered autonomous harvester that's poised to revolutionize the agriculture industry. It's fast, sophisticated, and can operate without human guidance, which promises to deliver a huge boost in harvesting efficiencies. The Agrobot team is starting out focusing on one crop in particular, strawberries.
One of the reasons for going for strawberries is the plant is small, so we don't need to make long movements. Second is lightweight. strawberry. And it's really intensive in labor. You have to pick every 3 days only the right strawberry, but you have to pick one by one in a delicate way. So we try to make a selective system, delicate system that can harvest only what we want to harvest.
With this being such a delicate and precise process, how can a machine hope to replicate what humans have mastered over generations?
First, we are scanning with a 3D camera for the ripe strawberries. We have artificial intelligence that is trying to identify where are the ripe strawberries, where is the stem of the strawberry, because it could be vertical, could be angled. We select the cutting point and then we move the robotic arm to that cutting point. We have a gripper, grab the strawberry by the stem. Really important, we don't touch the strawberry. It's not a question about bruising it, because we can make fingers that are as delicate as a human. It's a question of spray out diseases. So as less contact we have with the plants, with the fruit, higher quality product.
Higher quality. Not only production savings, but higher quality in the overall delivery with technology in an area that would have been unthought of and unheard of before. Let's talk about two very opposite ends of customer experience and expectations. When you think of chemical fertilizer, do you think of the term sustainability? Of course not. Those are things that are at two very ends of the scale. I'm going to show you now a video from a company that actually does that. They create chemical fertilizer. But because of the way the logistics work, how their product is created and stored, and the logistics of it, it's been a huge health hazard for their employees. It's always created a lot of uncertainty in terms of how much do I actually have in this big old storehouse. And capabilities have now been introduced using very much what we see in the car industry with LiDAR technologies, the self-driving cars, to actually create a system that does all of this automatically. Not only is it driving higher levels of safety and health for the employees who don't need to climb up into these chemically dangerous areas, but they've increased their capability to estimate, or actually now know exactly how much they have in storage, from roughly 85% using human methods and taking about a week to qualify, to going almost to 90% literally within a few minutes using this new technology. Now, this is not replacing jobs. This is still the same people that would have climbed up on that mountain of fertilizer and risked their health to do the measurements. It is helping these people do their job better, more efficiently, and be more safe at the same time. Another example, and actually back to strawberries here, is a large company very similar to Amazon, a company in the US called Walmart, who were some of the very first ones to get lots of patents in this area. And what they've done is created a system that does exactly that. Remove a lot of the friction and activity of manual labor, of checking shelves, of validating the prices, et cetera. So these have been deployed in 50 locations across the States, and the employees love it because it's not taking away their job entirely. It's allowing them to focus on the most important part of their job, namely engaging with guests or customers who are at Walmart. So they have more time to do the thing that they need to be doing. Walmart is going to introduce in a few years, in 2020, next year, end of next year, a new data center that takes that and what we just saw with the strawberries to the next level, to actually, as things are coming into their data center and distribution center, to use automation and robotics to distribute them not only more efficiently, but in terms of strawberries, even more carefully than the humans can do. So let's look at an example from within our industry. And I'd like to sort of come back to now, so the so what, or now what of all of this. You know, what can I do as a hotelier? I'm not Google, I'm not Amazon. I don't know anything about artificial intelligence, machine learning. There are technologies and capabilities in your existing systems today that, if they are stitched together properly, can create a very, very unique brand experience. And there are companies, and I'll show you two examples in a moment, who are going to help you do that by giving you tools to self-configure these kind of technology-supported, technology-based systems.
Every time you choose NH, you get the power. The power to choose your room. The power to skip queues with online check-in. The power to leave faster with online checkout. NH Hotels presents Fast Pass, 3 new services to get the power of your stay.
Now, no robots, no machine learning, no artificial intelligence there. Just a very good use of technologies to improve the guest experience, give them a brand promise, and the employees, firstly, they love it, because now I can do exactly what the Walmart employees need to do, and that's focus on my guest. But if you look at their press release, they're also driving something else home. They're driving home that word that we just heard of, sustainability. If I have two commodity products, a bag of coffee beans in a red bag, a bag of coffee beans in a brown bag. Same price, more or less same beans, I don't know the difference, right? If one of them has a sustainability stamp on it and they both are theoretically the same, am I willing to pay more for that sustainability? Of course. And we are a commodity industry in many cases, and that's why we need to drive this customer experience. BD for Travel, a company that is using these technologies, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and creating very, very travel-specific technologies around that, have created the capability to view customer intent as customers come into your funnel and are live on your channels and on your platforms and make recommendations. They're able to actually, in real time, dynamically change the customer experience and serve up very unique content based on what they know this customer will want and need. And then comes all the scoring and capabilities into that as well. So really, how much is he willing to spend? What is he doing right now? What would catch his attention? What did he book so far? What has he looked at so far? What's important to him? And does he even want to book soon? All of these signals can be picked up and acted upon in real time as people flow into the system. They have 4 key products, a recommender, a sorting engine, a profiling, and a call center support tool. But these are companies that are there and available for you to tap into and use. Very much effective. BD for Travel, for example, is doing a lot of the personalization that you see but don't see on brands like TUI and Expedia. So when you go there and you search for package tours, you don't know that this is happening in the back end. You just go, wow, this looks great, and I've only clicked twice. Or I've only been here for 5 minutes, and I didn't know I was looking for this, but this is exactly what I was looking for. What they're doing next is taking personalization and dynamic content to the next level. They've seen increases or uplift of conversion of about 10% in doing this personalization. What they're now doing is saying there are customers who are coming into the funnel who have a very, very clear conversion intent. And if we don't personalize for them, because they know what they're doing, they're seeing a further uplift of about 5%. Proxy is another company that is using also these technologies, machine learning, artificial intelligence, but give you a toolkit to actually drag and drop. You can see down there how a hotelier has configured this user experience that we just saw from NH. This is an example that they have from another hotel, from Taj Hotels. So very much the same experience that you just saw from NH. It's like, oh, great, but how do I do that as hotelier? Well, you could hire Proxy and use their tool to drag and drop these elements, these action points that are connected to your in-house systems and your app to actually create and tweak and manage those experiences. So Taj saw about 50% of their guests who are now using the device that have supported or driven that customer experience. It is now part of their brand promise. So boosting revenues, enhancing guest satisfaction, increasing the marketing footprint, and capturing more insights to further act upon. Another example from Jumeirah, guests arriving at the gate and not having to go through a lengthy process of who are you allowed to come into my property. The application instantly recognizes, based on the app that is on the customer's phone, who it is, what it is. It's displayed to the entrance personnel directly, and it triggers a whole raft of other activities on property as this guest is actually arriving. So again here, from Jumeirah, enhancing the guest satisfaction. They were able to reduce check-in times by 90% and improve the guest experience. What Proxy is doing next is tapping into the next trend or the next real evolution or disruption of real-time video analysis. The ability to take data streams in real time and extract information, not only who is this, what kind of person is this, but also intent, and be able to act upon that. Object and scene detection, tell the bellhop to get a trolley. Count of people and objects, get the shift manager to open a second counter. Is this person who is walking through my property or engaging with me or coming up to my desk to tell me something happy or sad? Are they angry? What can I know about them? When did this change? When did they go from happy to sad or sad to happy? So now what? Creating remarkable experiences. I would encourage you to look internally, not only at your channels and your products, like your apps, but also your processes, like we saw some of these examples of. Look at the front stage, but most importantly, the backstage and behind the scenes, where you can make incremental improvements. Look at changing the mobility experience using some of these tools and technologies. Look at the front desk and lobby area. Capabilities to engage with the guests and improve the guest experience through these technologies in resorts, on open spaces, or in parks. And of course, not to forget the chatbots, the Alexas, and similar of this world for engagement and automation delivery. And of course, the voice and video technology. Back to our example from Brazil, the Norwegian company in Brazil with safety and compliance. Brand awareness and customer experience starts with your employees. And if you can improve not only the safety and compliance and happiness of your employees, but also your guests, then you're really winning. So the hospitality landscape is evolving rapidly, driven through not only the technologies, but also the brand experience and customer experience that our target customers are having in the rest of the world. And these are the new must-haves. So really what we need to do is turn this back inside out, or actually back the right way around. Because in only a year and a half, the customer experience is going to overtake the relevance both of product and price as the brand differentiator. We need to deliver a consistent, connected, comprehensive, and competitive customer experience. So I'm urging you to embrace the technology, learn from the mistakes that the other industries have made and our friends, and use the easy-to-integrate technologies that are now out there and evolving, and create that unique customer experience. Thank you very much.
I think we've got time for questions, if there's any. Yep. If there's any questions, looking around. Just as we break for coffee, thank you. I'll bring something up which I saw. So Fatima Katablu of Forrester Research has been talking about personal digital twins.
Yes.
Which is essentially where you get a bot for yourself that is your AI that helps interface with their AI, so that your AI deals with all that kind of stuff. Are you coming across that sort of thing? Or?
We're not seeing it in travel yet. We are seeing the concept of digital twins very much in other industries where manufacturing is a case, where you need to secure knowledge and sort of blueprint and whatnot. What we are seeing is, for that context, what you're saying about, I need someone to actually talk to AI because I don't know what's going on between the scenes, or actually do it for me. Two examples. One is the Google Allo, or this chat system, where they're using it to actually engage on your behalf and talk as if it was you or your personal assistant. And then the whole discussion around, should it say he's an AI or not, and all of that. So that's real. That exists today. We can use that technology to engage with other AI systems, and they will learn to say, oh wait, you're an AI? Oh, then we don't need to speak this English language. Let's just send some bits and bytes. On the other hand, what is very important and relevant and now being delivered is the capability to look inside the black box. When these AI and machine learning systems are making recommendations and decisions based on rules and data that they have created themselves by reading all of that data, it is important for us not only to drive and tweak and manage the customer experience, but also for regulatory reasons, to know how did you get to that decision? And actually be able to document retrospectively, well, this is how I came up with that price and recommendation for you, just in case there are regulatory, legal, or reasons for us to want to go back and tweak that or understand how it happened. So that's actually happening right now. And just a few days ago, IBM came out with one of the new first patents in that area.
Okay, thank you very much, Olaf. Cheers.
Thanks very much.